There was a time in my life when I truly believed that the world was just going to keep its back turned on me, a black woman in law enforcement grappling with the darkest corners of human behavior. I had so many voices echoing in my head, telling me that I could never break through the barriers that others had built high above me, where only a privileged few got to thrive while I fought like hell just to survive. This place kills women like me. I'd think the irony serving as a bitter reminder that the very institutions meant to protect us can sometimes become our heaviest chains. I remember the day I walked into Green Lake Correctional Facility, heart pounding, palms sweaty. I was supposed to be an undercover investigator, but inside I felt more like a lamb about to enter a den of wolves. The fear was real. I had doubts. Could I rub elbows with the danger of corrupt officers and unflinching inmates, all while maintaining my cover? Would I genuinely uncover the truth behind those haunting disappearances of women who had seemingly vanished without a trace? But there was something inside me, a quiet fire perhaps, that refused to be snuffed out. With every step I took deeper into that foreboding environment, I felt a surge of determination. If there was even a small chance to bring justice to those who had been silenced, I knew I had to try. And that's when my journey truly started, right in those shadows. It was time to turn fear into strength. I'll never forget the day it all came crashing down. It was a Thursday, the air thick with tension. I was in my office, surrounded by stacks of paperwork caught up in the grind of my investigations. But outside of my little bubble, I could feel the storm brewing. When the door swung open and Sheriff Hargrove stepped in, I instantly sensed something was off. The air shifted heavy, with a tension that made my stomach drop. I stood up, bracing myself as he leaned against the desk, a smug grin spreading across his face. "Maya, we need to talk," he said, his tone dripping with false sympathy. "What about?" I challenged, refusing to show my fear. "Your little investigations. They've caught the wrong kind of attention," he said, his eyes narrowing. "It's come to my attention you're looking into matters better left undisturbed. You're not going to like what happens next." Disbelief washed over me as I tried to process his words. "Are you threatening me?" He laughed, the sound sending chills down my spine. "I'm merely stating facts. You're in over your head. You think you're a hero, but in a place like this, you're just a reflection of all your mistakes, Maya." With that, he turned on his heel and walked out, leaving me breathless, consumed with a growing rage. Betrayal stung deeper as I realized I was fighting not just for the truth, but for survival. A knot formed in my chest as I braced for my next move. There was no way I would back down. The stakes had shifted, and every moment felt like a ticking clock. I knew it wouldn't be long before Hargrove made his next move, but underestimate me. That's where he'd make his fatal mistake. I wasn't going to be silenced. I wouldn't let anyone dictate my will, especially not a man who thought he owned this place. As I looked around my office, ichor-stained files scattered about, I felt a flicker of resolve. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about every woman lost in those shadows, an entire system that had treated us like nothing more than collateral damage. I steeled myself. I'd fight tooth and nail. Nothing would stop me. So there I was, creeping down those echoing halls of Green Lake Heart, racing like I was the lead in a really bad action movie. I thought I was clever using my little micro camera, like James Bond's watch, ready to expose the shadows that lurk behind those steel doors. But let me tell you, things started going sideways pretty fast. First, it was that damned cart, the infamous nighttime express, that came to whisk away the unfortunate souls who dared to ask questions. It rattled through my mind like a horror movie soundtrack. I'd be crouched in the corner camera rolling and suddenly hear the screeching wheels echoing down the corridor, making me wonder if tonight was the night my curiosity would seal my fate. My stomach would drop, and all I could think was, please, not me, not tonight. And the psychological games, ugh, don't get me started. Sheriff Hargrove had an eye like a hawk, watching my every move with that twisted smile of his. It was the kind of smile that made you question your life choices. Just when I thought I had a good lead, Officer Joe would saunter by with that "I know what you're up to" look on his face. You know the one, it's like they practice it in a secret cop training camp. But amid all this chaos, there's a part of me that wouldn't shut up. It whispered through the fear and frustration, keep going. A buddy system wasn't exactly an option in the prison, but I found little encouragers in snippets of shared laughter with Tracy over lunch. At least we could bond over our awful cafeteria food. That crazy mixture of determination and sheer stubbornness made me remember why I started this in the first place. Yeah, the odds were stacked high, and each setback felt like a punch to the gut. But somehow, I clung to the belief that a breakthrough was coming. It had to be. And there's nothing like a good fight to make you feel alive, right? So every time I nearly got caught or heard another chilling story, I felt the fire grow. They could try and suffocate my voice, but laughter hides a resilience that can't be extinguished. Darkness was swallowing her whole. Each echo of footsteps, each rustle of a guard's uniform tightened the noose around her heart. Maya stood over the empty cell, the shadows whispering secrets of those who had vanished. I can't do this, she breathed, eyes stinging with unshed tears. But then came that moment, a memory flickering in her mind. Not on my watch. Her mother used to say fierce and unwavering. Maya felt it a spark. The cold, hard reality crashed down like a tidal wave, threatening to drown her hopes. But amidst the chaos, she discovered a fury within, a sudden humility, a shocking clarity. This was not just about survival. This was about justice. That visceral confrontation, the face of a friend gone missing, was a thread pulled too tight, a symmetry breaking under pressure. It lit a fire within her, raw and unyielding. I will not let them erase you. The silence felt oppressive, but she leaned into it. She could taste the iron tang of courage. Breaking into the medical wing, her heart thundered against her ribs. The fear, it wrapped around her, yet it transformed. Record after record stacked up like testimonies waiting to explode. Here it was, the proof she'd always needed, crimes stitched into fabric of injustice laid bare before her. And then the moment crystallized. She could see it, not just the hidden freezer. The cracks in the system. Allies began to form. Rick and even fellow inmates, they stood in solidarity, embers igniting into a blaze. Conversations turned into whispers of revolt threads woven into a tapestry of resistance. Together, we make them hear us. Charles, that does. The strength surged through her veins. It morphed her fear into relentless momentum. From despair to a fierce drive, the world shifted. Nothing would be the same again. As the sun began to set behind the cold concrete walls of Green Lake Correctional Facility, the world outside felt both distant and achingly close. Maya stood inside the dusty boardroom, her heart steady. The tension in the room was palpable as she addressed the assembly of weary-looking advocates and lawmakers, faces that mirrored the frustration of families torn apart by the prison's dark secrets. With every word she spoke, she transformed the stillness into an electric charge. "This is not just about me," she began, her voice steady but fierce. "It's about every woman whose story was silenced, every life taken under the watch of those sworn to protect us." As she recounted her harrowing journey, the narrow escapes the alliances formed under the veil of darkness, an image flickered across the screen behind her. Sheriff Walter Hargrove handcuffed and glancing away from the cameras as he was led out of a courtroom. The headline flashed boldly: "Corruption exposed. Sheriff Hargrove arrested amidst scandal." The cries of injustice had given way to a chorus of hope. Maya felt a surge of humility wash over her as she watched her allies step forward, sharing their own stories. Each voice constituted a thread woven into the tapestry of an awakening movement. Towards the end of the meeting, as she clenched hands with a fellow survivor, their grip firm yet respectful, she whispered, "Together we rise." A quiet smirk creased her lips, not out of arrogance, but a profound understanding of the battles they had waged and the scars they would forever carry. Her success didn't erase the pain or erase the memories of the lost. Rather, it illuminated them, transforming scars into a roadmap for others to follow. As Maya looked around the room filled with resilience and newfound hope, she knew this was merely the beginning. The fight for justice and for healing would continue every step forward, a testament to those who refuse to be silent. As I reflect on my journey through the shadows of Green Lake, I am struck by how much I've changed. I entered with a singular focus on justice, yet I emerged with a deeper understanding of power, how it corrupts, how it silences, and how it can only be dismantled when we stand united. Each story I gathered, each threat I faced reinforced a stark truth. Trust is a double-edged sword. In places scarred by corruption, alliances can save you or betray you, but without trust, we're left adrift in a sea of hopelessness. In the pursuit of justice, I wrestled with an unsettling question. Can revenge be just? Was my fight against Sheriff Hargrove fueled by a thirst for justice, or did it disguise a desire for retribution? Some might argue that revenge is merely a shadowy reflection of justice, a cycle where the oppressed become the oppressors. Others might boldly assert that without the fire of vengeance, justice remains unclaimed. As we navigate the murky waters of morality, we must ask ourselves, is it right to take back what was stolen, even if it transforms us in the process? This journey taught me that the answers are rarely clear-cut, and sometimes the biggest battles are fought not against the system, but within ourselves. As this chapter closes, I encourage you to reflect on your own journey and share your experiences. Can revenge ever lead to true justice? Or does it merely keep the cycle of pain alive? Join the conversation. Let's dig deep, engage in this discourse, and may our voices rise against the silence that binds us. Together we will not be silenced again.